Hi, it's Smulov True. It's the 15th of January 2019, and it's 7:30 in the evening. There was, first of all, I do want to say I have been receiving emails and comments, and I need time to sort of recover from my son's sort of short visit. Just as an update, we had a great time. I really enjoyed getting to know him again. He was 15 when he left to go and live with his dad back in San Francisco. And so I suppose his not being connected to the internet as often and still having his own space here, he was able to go away and recuperate just as I was able to go into another space and recuperate as well. And since he's left, actually, the snow is actually cleared up down here in the valley. One comment I did receive was about the volume, and I do realize my voice projection is not so great. But I have enabled the closed captions. So if you just turn on the closed captions setting or turn it on, then you'll at least be able to see some version of what Google is picking up that I'm saying. Yeah, so I'd like to share a screen here. Now, let's see. Sean David Morton has made a comment about the, Zimbabwe currency exchange. And this video is going to be a bit about what's happening with what's being called as the global currency reset. And I have been following Karen Hudis about that. She does a good job of reporting. Sean David Morton, he has some insight. So I'd like to share that now.
Okay, I keep getting all this stuff on Jasara and Nisara about the Dinar Chronicles and about all of this stuff. Look, people, just give up on the Dinar, okay?
One comment I would like to say about all those websites that are kind of talking about the dinar, if you take a look at it, at one point, those channels, I had them listed as unsource. And so he's actually just labeled, named a couple of them. But let's go on to further.
Iraq is now part of the United States. It's like the 57th nation state. We forced the Iraqis to actually put in a new constitution. We put them onto the SWIFT system. They became part of the whole cartel, if you will. So as far as the dinar revaluing to anything, it may have revalued from 0.000014 to 0.0008, but it's only going to profit people who have millions of dollars of this stuff. However, Zimbabwe does have all kinds of natural resources and oil and gold and diamonds and whatever else, and there is the possibility of the Zimbabwean Zim, and I actually have a $1 trillion note stashed away somewhere, which is worth about $20. But there's more likelihood of Zimbabwe actually revaluing, because if they can actually fix their currency system to actually trigger it so that it actually then goes into the, so it actually directly links to Zimbabwe's natural resources, I think that might be interesting. And you still have the BRICS Alliance out there, and you still have people talking about some kind of...
So what Sean David Morton is talking about is Zimbabwe. And see, I'll make this a little bigger. This is on Africa Metro. That looks good. Okay. So here we have, this is actually reported 4 months ago on August 28th, 2018. Zimbabwe doomed as Theresa May, Angela Merkel back economic development, ED. So on August 28th, British Prime Minister Theresa May arrived at Cape Town, South Africa for a one-day working visit. This visit was part of a 3-day nation tour of South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria, designed to strengthen Britain's trade ties with African nations. During the course of her visit, May made a brief appearance on South African TV channel ENCA, which all but confirmed her willingness to mollycoddle African strongmen and do business with administrations which hold shaky and homicidal claims to power. When asked if she endorsed President Emerson Mnangagwa's strongly disputed victory in the July 30th presidential election, the wily-looking May immediately alluded to the Commission of Inquiry, which the former vowed to establish a look into the Army's violent crackdown on opposition supporters. And there's more on the article there. But what I wanted to bring up is British Prime Minister Theresa May elusive when asked if she endorses Mnangagwa. So let's have a quick listen to this. This was actually August 28th. So same day as the Africa Metro coming out with this article. This was recorded.
With Zimbabwe, do you endorse the leadership of Mnangagwa and the legal process around it? Well, I was pleased to hear that that President Mnangagwa had said that he was setting up a commission into the violence that we have seen taking place recently. I think that is an important step for Zimbabwe. I know President Ramaphosa was at the inauguration in Zimbabwe only earlier this week. I think there's a real opportunity for Zimbabwe now, and I look forward to Zimbabwe being able to grasp that opportunity for the future.
Is that a yes to endorsing him?
The president is an elected president. He's making an important step in saying that he set up a commission of inquiry into what has happened in relation to the violence. I think that's a very important signal from him about the Zimbabwe he wants to see for the future, and a Zimbabwe that is taking the opportunities for its people for the future.
So what we have next is China printing new Zimbabwe currency in exchange for oil and diamonds. Now, this is now August, September, October, November, December, 4 months later, with December 14th, 2018. And here we can see this is actually reported on the Bulawayo 24 News, and this is the article that had come up. China has intensified its grip, control, and access to Zimbabwe's mineral wealth by reportedly demanding diamonds and oil drilling rights from President Emerson Mnangagwa's government as payment for printing and backing the new Zimbabwe currency and the building of an opulent new capital city in Mount Hampton, Spotlight Zimbabwe has reported. The new Zimbabwe dollar is expected to launch in early 2020, to repeal and replace the surrogate currency of bond notes and will be backed by the nation's diamond and gold reserves, supported by Beijing, which holds the largest diamond reserves in Asia. Diplomatic sources in Harare said this week. Okay. So I'm actually going to put links to these articles in the video description. If it's not in the video description, you'll find a link to an external source that will have these links. But we're looking at the new Zimbabwe dollar is expected to launch in early 2020. And here we have another source from China, china.org. Zimbabwe to reintroduce local currency in 12 months, Finance Minister. Harare, January 12. Zimbabwean Finance and Economic Development Minister, Mithuli Ncube, said that the country will have its own currency within 12 months. State media Herald newspaper reported Saturday. Addressing the delegates at Road to Davos, Davos is basically a location in Switzerland, and that's where the World Economic Forum is held just about the third week of every year in January. Yeah, I think it's actually next week. So addressing delegates at Road to Davos meeting in Harare Friday, Ncube said adopting the US dollar or the Asian or the South African rand would not solve the problems, macroeconomic problems. Asked to give a timeline on when the local currency would be reintroduced, Ncube said it would be done in less than 12 months. So again, this article is published January 13th, 2019, so within 12 months. He said separating the parity between real-time gross settlement accounts and foreign currency accounts was the beginning of the currency reforms which are necessary for pushing the country's economy in the right direction. Our job is to introduce a currency that will be stable and less volatile. Dealing with the fiasco side is the first order to move forward a stable currency, Ncube said. Zimbabwe adopted Zimbabwe adopted the use of multi-currencies in 2009 after its local currency had been rendered worthless by hyperinflation. Zimbabwe, to relieve cash shortages, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe introduced the bond note in late 2016. Initially pegged at 1-to-1 against the US dollar when it was introduced, the bond note, however, has gradually lost value against the real currency and is now being traded at about 1/3 the value of the US dollar. End item. So what we're looking at here are various types of notes. This is all from the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. And what's significant here is to look at currencies before the multi-currencies began in 2009. So let's take a look at this one here. So what I've heard is that the AA 2008 note would be the one to look at. Okay, it has been said that that was the only the AA series printed in 2008 were the notes or the bonds that had been printed on bond paper. Now, there's something interesting about this year here within, we're going to look at the Chinese New Year. So we have to date, January 15th, okay. We're actually 3 weeks away from the Chinese New Year for the pig. So the previous year, or I should say this ending year, is 2018. And 2018 is the year of the dog. Year of the dog is about unconditional love and loyalty. What I had found my year of the dog was spent mostly being loyal to the direction that I was going, and also about sifting through the different factions. So we're going to look further into those factions because they do exist. So we have 3 weeks left for the year of the dog, and then February 5th, 2019 is the year of the pig. Now, when we look at this, this diagram here, there are 12 animals that basically, how the story goes, these are the animals in the order they went to go and visit the Buddha. First was the rat, then the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, the snake, the horse, the sheep, monkey, rooster, and we're at the dog. And in 3 weeks' time, when we have the Chinese New Year of the pig or the boar, this is going to be the beginning of the end. Okay, so the beginning of the end of this cycle that we've gone through. Now, what happened in 2008? Well, 2008 was when, let's see, it was the continent of Africa minus Egypt was made into its own U.S. command. 2008 was also the year bankers were bailed out by the federal government. And that happened during Obama's administration. I think it was like in February of 2009. Yes. So when we're looking for timelines and dates, it's really important to pay attention to the lunar calendar, because the Gregorian calendar is what has been failing us, right? It kind of threw us off with, I guess it was 2003 or 2012. And now we're looking at 2019, just the beginning of the end. And with the Zimbabwe currency, let's see, a timeline on when local currency would be done in less than 12 months. So that's fairly significant. Within 12 months' time would mean that, well, let's take a look at the year of the pig. Actually, there was something else. Yeah, okay. So in 12 months' time, 2020 January 2020 is actually the year of the rat. So there's still a lot of cleanup to do. Year of the Pig is about cleaning up and getting rid of all the excess waste, the useless things, okay? And then when 2020 comes around, that's the beginning of a new cycle, okay? So we're going to look at the Chinese New Year for 2020. The Chinese New Year in 2020 is on Saturday, the 25th of January. According to the Chinese 12-year animal zodiac cycle, the Chinese New Year beginning 2020 is the year of the rat. Each Chinese zodiac year begins on Chinese New Year's Day. Rat years are believed to be the most lucky for people born in the previous years of the rat. So it's like if one was born the year of the rat, that's going to be a lucky year. Those who were born the year of the pig, that's going to be a lucky year for all the pigs. Chinese New Year is also known as the Spring Festival. In modern mainland China, it's China's most important traditional festival. Celebrated at the turn of the traditional lunisolar Chinese calendar, which consists of both Gregorian and lunar solar calendar systems, Chinese New Year can begin any time between late January and mid-February. Chinese Spring Festival public holiday starts on the Chinese New Year and lasts for seven days. Okay. So when I was, this kind of goes back to the previous video about this, this map. And it was in 2007, this yellow section here was initiated to be its own command. And then in 2008, it actually became its own command. So that was the year of the rat. There were other parts here. I think it was Somalia, Ethiopia, and another country here that was part of this orange command. But here we can see that Egypt still remains part of this orange command. Now, China, why is China taking a look or going to be the ones to print Zimbabwe's currency? Because obviously the UK was trying to. So here we'll come to, actually, okay. I just closed that window. But here I wanted to show this about Antarctica, and it's actually related to this. Let me see. Show me images. So, what we see here are all these different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the 6 Pacific, United States Pacific Command includes Antarctica. So I wanted to show what's up with Antarctica. And here are the claims. Now, it actually comes from this, this website here. It's the Australian government, Department of the Environment and Energy, Australian Antarctic Division. And it's basically this map. National claims to Antarctic territory. Okay, so that's this map here I have enlarged. So what we can see here is there is a Chilean claim. It is overlapped by the British claim. And what's under the British claim? There's an Argentine claim. So there's something in Chile and Argentina that is under. Looks like higher authority is found at Chile, and then you've got British, and then there's Argentina. Okay, and then we have the Norwegian claim. That's a big section there. And then we've got Australian claim. Australia, I hadn't realized, it's basically New Holland in the early days on old maps. It's called Australia is New Holland. And you have this tiny French claim. Here's another Australian claim. And then there's New Zealand claim. Now, from what I can gather, I would think that both Australians and New Zealand claims belong to the British claim. Is that true? And if so, it appears that Chile is over all of those other claims. Just a thought, and we don't know what this unclaimed section is. Could the unclaimed section in this six continent, or I want to say commands, Northern America, Southern America, Europe, Africa, Central, and then Pacific. And then there is this unclaimed part within the Pacific. The northern and southern limits of the Norwegian claim are undefined. The northern limit of the other claims is the coastline of Antarctica. So these are sort of things that I'm taking a look at and trying to just figure out. So when taking a look at this Pacific, let's zoom out so you can see this. So while taking a look at this, okay, it looks like even here there is the US European COM, and then there's the US Southern Command. And then there's that big part there. So I will take a look at that and write a bit about it. But what I wanted to look at here is this area. We've got Nepal and we've got Bhutan, and they're part of the US Pacific Command. The furthest north, this Pacific Command, aside from going up in the ocean here, for land masses, it is Mongolia. So when we take a look at that, Nepal is basically, has a flag that looks like this. It's very unusual. It's one of the most unusual flags of all the states. Basically 2 triangles and then this, how many pointed star? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 pointed star. And then on the top, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. So there's an 8-pointed, almost like a rising sun over a crescent. And then you've got this 12-pointed star. So it'd be a good idea to take a look at these. Why is there that many stars on there? So that was Bhutan. Oh, excuse me, that was Nepal. This is Bhutan. Bhutan has a yellow and orange flag with a white dragon on it. Bhutan is not a member state of the United Nations. It does not accept the Hague Conventions for Adoptions that's set out by the UN or by the Den Haag of the Netherlands. So I have to close something here. So here's a little something that I found Benjamin Fulford. Benjamin Fulford and Robert David Steele at Inokashira Park. And here's what he has to say about white dragons.
The white dragon. Yeah. The story is the goddess Benten found this horrible sea creature that was terrifying people, and turned it into a benevolent entity that protected the weak and the poor. And I think this is a perfect symbol for what we want to do with the military-industrial complex.
This is the white dragon, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a pleasure to have been initiated into the White Dragon group as part of my visit here. I absolutely leave here not only happier, but empowered.
Yeah. The white dragon fights to protect the life force, and it can only be used for the greater good.
Just a note about that. All the paperwork for my private side to get authenticated, I'd always used Bhutan. Bhutan is my country that I had put on. You can use like Taiwan, any other country. But I had chosen Bhutan as my, basically the country that state of California would authenticate my documents for because it was a non-Hague Conventions country. And another thing is the first color I can remember when I was a little girl, it was orange. So my parents had gotten me a pink blanket, and my brother, I have 3 brothers, older brothers, and the 2 oldest were together in one room, and then I was with my older brother who was like 13 months older than me, and we had one room. And David, he's actually disabled. He always took my pink blanket and then he gave me this red tomato blanket, and I didn't mind. I didn't mind. By the time I could recognize what he was doing, I realized this color was closer to orange. It's like a tangerine orange. And so just something from my early memory that I could remember. This will go in the video description. Now, we're getting somewhere. We're still in China, okay? This is Edward Riordan, and he does remote viewing. I'm not going to show this video, but I will put a link in the video description or in the link to an external source. But he goes over a process as he's given a target, which is the Dalai Lama, and he's looking at the emotional content. So here we have Edward Riordan. I was recently invited to participate in a practice target for the HISIC group. The target was the Dalai Lama. For those who are in need of hiring a team of professional remote viewers. Okay, you can also, I wrote a comment and I said, mahalo for uploading. And this is actually in this quote that I've got. It was erased and they took off the timestamp. Or that was the first comment I had left had a timestamp. They deleted it, but the video was still held in my steak tartare playlist, which I've since deleted. But essentially, within this video, Edward has said, AI nervous, branded cult to carry a lot of responsibility. Persona is a presentation concerned with appearances. I recall, now this is outside the quote, unquote. I recall, that's me, I recall Benjamin Fulford mentioning Dalai Lama being part of the cabal. This kind of status being built up is a lot like Obama presidency. And I'm pretty sure I added this to my comments link playlist. Now, the second video Edward Riordan had done is actually a reverse speech. Now, again, I'm not going to play this, but I will put a link in the video description. And here in the video description, Edward Riordan had reported, and this, by the way, was about 6 weeks after. Let's see. I had a great opportunity to chat with professional remote viewer and reverse speech analyst Gail Husick. If anyone is interested in professional remote viewing services, please reach out to Gail at her website. Here are some of my reversals from the Dalai Lama session. Any remote viewer who is worth their salt, who practices, who does. Now, what I had just slowed down, and this is actually what he's reverse speech as we listen to this. Practices, who does the work, will tell you that some days the magic is running through you, some days it's not. So when it was reverse speeched, it came out to, who has it? The woo-woo. So what's the woo-woo? Who has it? The woo-woo. Now in the second one, any remote viewer who is worth their salt, who practices, who does the work, will tell you that some days the magic is running through you, and some days it's not. So what's being reversed is here, it's not. And when done in reversed, when listened to in reverse, it's nonsense. It's nonce. It's not. It's nase. It's nase. And actually what came to mind is it's nonsense. For me, it's not about quote unquote nailing the target. It's about the experience that I'm having during that episode. So in the square brackets, what's reverse is a million. Look, look. The scene in Bruce Lee's movie Enter the Dragon, where he's training the young man, the young martial artist who is seeking, who sees waking up. Oh, so sorry about that. Martial artist who he sees walking up the path, and he's trying to teach him how to move with emotion. Content is what he's attempting to teach. So what's being reverse speeched here is move with emotion. Want to show them, meet the womb. And here we go into the fourth one. Oh man, like a lot of their falls on your name. Man, like your name. Oh man, like a lot of their falls on. A lot, dale, dale. A lot, dale. So when I saw this 9 months ago, 9 months ago, I don't know why it was. I just sort of picked up Edward's. I'm not subscribed to it anymore because since then he's gone on to other things. And it's like after he did this and he had the reverse speech done to it, his whole motive shifted. He started a Patreon account, which I don't have anything against Patreon. And then he started looking at other artists so that he could do some remote viewing of their work and their inspiration. I just lost interest. This was the only two that I'd gotten, and I'm pretty sure I left a comment. Letting go of past enables the present. And I did add it to my comments playlist. Okay, good. So now as we continue on with China and sifting through the different factions, I'm going back to Jim Lee's video here. Let's see, let me just take one look. Good, okay, let's go back to share. Okay, so here I'd like to this is a short clip that I'm going to have Jim Lee's daughter just woke up. So in this part, she's expressing herself.
So this is where they originally are going to be doing the cloud seeding over Tibet. So they plan on making a whole lot of rain in this area, and then they want to use the rivers of the sky to steer it over here to the desert in the Yellow River Basin. So that's their big plan. We'll see how that works out.
So anything to deal with Jim Lee's work, very significant, that he's particularly hitting on China at this critical time. It's really quite a gift. So when we take a look at the China Plateau. We have Nepal, and then there is Bhutan, and then there's Tibet. Now this whole region is pretty much, it's huge, and at the same time, there are many cultural similarities. I think it was Nepal. I was looking for a comment on, I can't remember who it was. I think it was, it could have been Sean David Morton. I'll just, I'll leave the name off. But basically, in this region, there's what's called the Royal Dragon Men. And the Royal Dragon Men appear to be part of I'll just leave it at that. The Royal Dragon Men of this somewhere within this region, Nepal, Bhutan, Tibet. The Tibetan Plateau has the highest mountain, the Himalayas. Another set of mountains is found here. And when we can sort of recognize the calf on this leg here. But it's basically the French Alps, the Swiss Alps, the Italian Alps. Bavarian Alps is basically southern Germany. This little dot here is actually Liechtenstein here. Then you have the Austrian Alps. And then there is the Julian Alps. Now the Julian Alps, here we have Slovenia. So that's really what I've got today, is sort of looking at the different factions, and they always seem to be up on mountains. Like why there are so many telescopes that are on Mauna Kea and Haleakala. Over half of them don't work on Mauna Kea. They just keep building, and then they put a new thing up there. And these mountain people, they're interesting. Interesting to take a look at the mountain people. Okay, I think that's everything. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that information and put it out there that there are lots of sources of disinformation depending on the source. And from what I can see, any source that's pushing the Iraq dinar is disinformation. And consider taking a look at the Zimbabwe bond, or the Zimbabwe dollar, 2008 AA series. Because if China's in there, and China, following the Chinese calendar, 2020 is what we can expect, that there's going to be this currency exchange, possibly. I'm just looking at it like entertainment. I hope this finds all well on the other side there. It's always interesting. Still a lot to take a look at. It's going to be a while till I get around to comments and emails. I'm actually supposed to be studying for my German. Let's see, it's sort of the next phase after being in Switzerland for 5 years to prepare for I guess it's the C permit to be here. Anyway, I'm very limited on time, but I do like putting together videos and just really sharing what I'm finding here. Okay, so Smo out.